Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Wednesday morning mastermind call. Today we share what's working on eBay, Poshmark, Mercari, whatnot, whatever platform you sell on. We go over best practices on Wednesday. So I want to give you guys my best possible reselling advice today. And I wish I had learned this earlier in my life, which was if you can get to the top 20% of any field, that's what I want to teach my kids. And I wish I had gotten that advice in my when I was younger, like or when I started reselling. Don't worry about cross listing or learning all these different platforms. Because when I started, I wanted to do Amazon, I want to do print on merch. I wanted to do all these things because I learned about reselling. But the interview we did with Jesse last week reminded me of something. If you can get to the top 20% of something, it applies to everything, right? So I noticed Jesse, if you look at his profile, he goes to the gym. And I'm 100% positive that he's in the top 20% of people that go to the gym. It's very obvious by how he looks that he has a regular gym habit. It's obvious by his eBay store that he has a regular eBay habit. So what we're trying to do in this group is develop the habits of the top 20% of people. Then once you have that, you can apply that anywhere. It applies to anything. So for me, like consistency has given me a top 1% YouTube channel, a top 1% reselling business, top 1% group, top 1% family. It applies to everything, right? So you aim for the top 20%. And then when you get there, you only have to do it one more time to be the best. So the top 20% in any field, I'm going to give you guys what I think it is for resellers. So when you guys log into the group, it lands on this thing, which is the instructions for the group. Now, I want to have pretty much everything you need to resell in here. So this top video is how to use it. Be polite, but down here, I have the sold method for you guys outlined and the video of me doing it. So this is what I consider top 20%. You wake up, you do your customer service, that takes less than 5 minutes. For you to do one item shipped, it takes less than 2 minutes. That's you finding the item, walking to your computer, printing the label, putting the label on it, 2 minutes. Photography, this is for 10 items. I want you to be able to, actually, let me edit this real quick because I want it to be per item. So for photography, I want it to be 3 minutes. 3 minutes, 1 minute. Okay, sorry. Just needed to change that. Okay. So customer service in 5 minutes, shipping in 2 minutes, photography in 3 minutes, listing in 3 minutes, resetting to zero. That's just getting an item ready to sell 1 minute, post office and lunch less than an hour. And you have to be able to find 3 items in an hour. If you can do that, you're in the top 20% of resellers. So right when you log in, it'll have instructions when you log in and they'll tell you how to do this. Whichever one is too slow, work on that until you're in the top 20%. The hardest one is being able to find 3 items in an hour. If you can find 3 items in an hour, the rest of it, I can teach you how to make a full-time living. That's the part that we really need to study and learn. That's the best possible resale advice I can give you. Learn how to find at least 3 items an hour that meet your profit metric. The rest of it you can learn. It's just practice. Before the call, Madra was talking about the transfer for photos and making sure that part is all tight. Once you have like a photo station that you always use, a photography system that always works. So Carrie, the goal is 3 hours for every hour you go, 3 items for every hour you go sourcing. So let's say Dana goes to the bins in 3 hours, I would expect her to find 9 items or more that meet her criteria. With that, you can make a full-time living in a 40-hour work week. You can find 3 items an hour. So you need to hone your sources until you can do that. And the easiest way to do that would definitely be a garage sale. But the problem is garage sales are only a specific time every single week, right? And there's like garage sales at 6 in the morning are different than garage sales at 1 in the afternoon. The bins is different when they open than when they close. If you're at the bins all day and you're through all those rotations, like listening to Alex talk about her bins day is all day. The odds of her finding no items is zero. She did have one of her worst days ever in this past week where she only found a couple of items. Like all days, she only found 13 items, which is very, very low, and that will happen. But there's other days when you'll find 100 items in the same time. But the average is if you can find 3 items an hour that meet your profit threshold, whatever it may be, I recommend $20 profit or more. But that would mean that if I drop off Seth or Jesse or Russell or Catherine at the thrift store in an unknown city, you can find 3 items that meet your profit potential. And I'm okay with it being anything. Doesn't have to be your category. It's better if it's your category, but if it's not, you just do the best with what you can. Like I know Jesse could sell a lawnmower. It's not clothing, but he could figure it out. He could put it on Facebook Marketplace. It's the same thing. Once you understand why people buy things, you can sell on any platform, right? If he got a lawnmower, he'd be like, okay, what model is it? How big is it? Like, which ones do well? What keywords are important? It's the same thing as a shirt. It's just you need to understand the basic mechanics. So if you can't ship an item in 2 minutes or less, why? Is it because you can't find it? Is it because your system is not um, are you is it because you can't find it, or is it because you're shipping, you're not sure where to go for the labels, or you're not sure how much it weighs? All those solutions can be solved really quite easily by just letting us know in the group what's going on. So every day I get around 200 messages or comments from people either on YouTube or in the group asking me specific questions. And I think I wish I had more of that. I want more questions like, hey, this is taking me too long. Why? Because otherwise, I don't know how to get you guys further. But once you can find 3 items an hour, you can ship an item in 2 minutes. You can photograph an item in under 3 minutes. You can list an item in under 3 minutes. You're there. You're officially certified. Anytime you can save time on that, you increase your quality of life, you increase your bank account, you get a raise, you feel better about yourself. Because when you're really good at something, you feel really, really good about it. Yeah. So I'm off my soapbox. I just think that the advice I would give the kid, if I was a school teacher, I would tell kids, try to get really good at something. Doesn't matter what it is. If you don't like it, that's okay. You can switch to something you like later. Right now, we're 8 years old. Let's just learn how to paint, like a house, something, right? And if you're and how many kids are amazing because they spend an hour on it for 3 4 years, even if their parents force them to do that, they can use that for something else. Now it's a bonus if your child also likes it, but honestly, I don't know if I like shipping. I mean, I take it back. I actually do like shipping. I don't like photography and listing that much, but I love shipping. So shipping, that was the last part of my business I gave up because I enjoyed it so much. But as far as um, getting to the best of it, when I am doing, here, I'll show you guys. Like, I'm honestly very proud of figuring out how to do things quickly, like this right here. I would pick my items. It took 12 seconds per item. Let's see, let's go to my shipping. This is actually the most replayed part of the video. So here, it's taking me 36 seconds for every shipment, right? I'm printing the label. All the poly mailers are within reach, right? So I'm printing the label. My item is right on a scale. I'm packing it. I use the cardboard. Now, you actually don't need to reinforce the seam, but I do it anyway, just because I don't want it to get caught in the machine. So I reinforce the corners. Put the label out. I don't tear the thing because it takes an extra 2 seconds. So I don't actually tear the label on the printer ever. I'm going to the next one. So as you can see, when I'm putting the next item onto the scale, the number is facing me. You can see it right here. The number is facing me. So I can double check the item and the custom SKU. And as it's printing the label, or I'm sorry, it takes a few seconds for the screen to open. So I'm putting the next item on the scale already. But I mean, how much time would it save you guys if your shipping was really fast? Because my shipping is on eBay was around, um, let's see, total shipping time per item was around 48 seconds. Go ahead, Sally.
Well, my question that you answered, but I have another one. It takes me 30 seconds to walk to the area where, I mean, you have a lot of items, Chris. You
Yeah.
mean in 48 seconds, you can walk to the place, pick the item, bring it back, or are you bulk and how many are you doing? And I think that economy of scale may make your average per item picking time really short. But if you were doing it for only one or two items, then you would have to load that time with your time to get there and time to get back.
Kind
When I
of.
do it manually, it takes
Let me
22.
show you. Okay. So when I'm picking my items, right? So here's me doing customer service. It takes me 7.5 seconds to respond to a lowball offer. So that's why when people are like, hey, all these people are lowballing me, I'm like, that's only 7 seconds on somebody that lowballs you. Like, forget, don't worry about it. So here, okay, I have it pulled up on my phone. So me walking over, so this is me picking an item, right? So this is actually really slow. And normally it doesn't take me that long to find the item. That one was probably longer than 12 seconds. But now I'm walking, right? Even if I was just shipping one item, it would still only take 12 seconds. Because usually it's like this. I can just pick the item. This is my,
Oh, I don't believe you. Put
well,
it
let's count.
down. I do not
So
believe
I go
12
ahead.
seconds that you can walk from your printing station, find a box, pull the item, and arrive back. I do not believe you can do that in 12 seconds.
You're doing it. I'm doing we're watching me do it right now.
I don't know if that's 12 seconds or not.
This timer on top is in real time. This is not sped up. It takes me 2 minutes to pick 10 items.
So that's 20 seconds.
Well,
So
no, it's 240 seconds, but it's 10 items. This is real time. I'm not even fast. I'm not even moving fast. I'm like taking my time and I'm like, this is not that fast. I'm not like running through my system. This is not, it's just in order. See, and I'm like, see,
okay, I'm going to walk over right now and I'm going to
this
get
is
my
honestly
toast
making
out
me
of the
cringe.
toaster.
This is
And
honestly making me cringe.
I'm going to get my toast out of the toaster right now. It's the equivalent of walking over and getting an item. I'm going to get my toast
Okay,
out of the
no, but
toaster.
look, Sally, if you watch, right, see how fast it is when I don't have to walk very far. Nobody listening right now has this many things.
Okay, so mine are on hangers.
Yeah,
That's going to make a difference.
barely, barely.
I think it's probably Sally, the conversation you're having is that Chris, you're averaging the times, and Sally's talking about to go and pick one thing. So your items, Chris, that you pick in the
Yeah.
140, it's probably like 35 seconds for the first one to actually walk over and do it, but then it's like 5 seconds in between to go from one box to the next. And her point is that it takes her 40 seconds to do that first one.
I think I could do it. I think I could do it in 1 minute. If you just said, okay, go, I could run, get the item. I don't even have to run. I could walk over to where my item is, get it, walk. Because, okay, if it was just one item, I wouldn't have to scroll through my phone to figure out which one it is. Like 1064. I could walk over to 1064, get the item, walk back. And my, the muscle memory from shipping tens of thousands of items, I could definitely do the shipping part in still 30 seconds, the label part.
And I
36.
think most people's sense of time is just, you don't realize how much time, how long it takes when you're wasting time and how short it takes when you're working. Like I used to tell my kids, I'm going to time you. You think unloading the dishwasher is going to take you half an hour. It's less than 5 minutes. I'll time you and I'll show you. that it
I
really
know.
doesn't take as long as you think. I think everybody's sense of time, you have to learn that it's faster than you think it is. Sally, how long did it take you to get your toast?
I didn't think he was interested in timing my toast, so I just got my toast and now I'm eating it.
So
So,
the
so
yeah,
Chris,
go ahead.
I print out a pick list,
Yeah.
then I have all the numbers right there, and then I just walk over and it's quick. I mean, that's the easiest part of my process is picking the items to get ready for shipping.
Yes. I
Super.
hope so. I
Yeah.
hope so.
Especially
Yeah.
if you have a numbered system, where you're not digging through, like when I was digging through bins, it took a lot longer.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Because I had to, like, I 5 black pairs of pants in one bin and I'm not sure which one is the right one. And that wasted so much time. Having my
Okay.
better number system really saves time. So maybe Sally or whoever, you have a process that could be shortened.
Let me see here. 41 times.
Like Sally, your items are on a hanger. Do you also have them numbered? Like, do you have a
Oh my God.
Of course, I have them numbered. The numbers are easy to see, and I have them chronologically and numerically.
okay?
Kelly?
So I've been thinking about why can't I get this thing? Oh, hold on. Why I don't have specific questions. And so I'm thinking about this since you said that. And so I study you, and I'm sure lots of people do. Before I joined the group, and the many months that I've been in the group, I've studied your processes and your videos, and like you don't know what you don't know. So
Yeah.
at first it was just like this, how, because it used to take me all day to do one item.
Yeah.
And so I've learned so much from watching you and others. And like my setup right now is largely based on what Sally used to have and what your setup, but all the little tiny processes from studying and listening. And I know now I don't like what I need to do to make it even better. Like it's all spread out. My stuff's in the other room, but I'm not able to like make that happen right now because they gotta change things, and that takes time.
Yeah.
But, watching the videos and the process has been extremely helpful. And you answer the questions. Like I have all these questions that I don't even know specifically what the questions are, but that's one reason because you're an effective teacher.
Thank you. I think that I know now why I want people to get into the top 20% of their field. The reason is because then you know what questions to ask. And if you're not good at anything, you don't know what questions to ask, which is okay. But that's why, like, if people were to ask me, Chris, what makes people really good at reselling? And I'm always like, they have a full-time job, usually. People who are great at reselling typically come from a full-time job, or they keep their full-time job, which is kind of annoying because the people who don't need the money are the best at making money. Like the people who already make 6 figures at their job, they come to reselling and they're like, Chris, what do I need to do? Photo setup? Okay. Schedule? Okay. Shipping system? Okay. Make sure all my items are similar so I don't have to spend a lot of time changing. Okay. And then they just set up all those systems and they're there. Like it takes less than 1 year. But if you have no systems and no planning and you're coming into reselling, it's so hard because you have to relearn all of these little tiny things, which is completely fine. I'm just saying that if you get to the top 20% of your field, right? Which in today's age is lower than the bar is lower than ever. It's easier to become the best now. It's just that there's like yesterday I was having a really good conversation with Carrie, and I'm going to go over this before I go to Debbie's question, which is like yesterday on my live, I said, I don't think it's necessary to do promoted listings. I'm talking about only listing great items. If you sell average items, maybe you need 25, 40% promoted listings because it's so flooded. Everybody is selling average items. Average items are hard to sell. You need every single trick in the book. You might need to pay for bold, you might need to pay for subtitle, maybe you need 40% promoted listings, maybe you need your items to be free shipping, maybe you need $6 free shipping to sell your item because there's so many people selling average items. So hard. If you're selling and like we always if you're selling like an Apple Watch, you could just have a 2-word title, Apple Watch, 2 pictures, right? Don't even put what model it is, and people will figure out what model it is from the picture and buy it from you because it's so popular. You don't need promoted listings. You don't need a good title. You don't need any item specifics. People will just search Apple Watch, search low to high. They'll find yours because people are looking for deals and they'll buy it. They'll find your item because they want it so bad. When you have an average item, it's so hard to sell. Being average is so hard. Paycheck to paycheck, really hard. Everyone's doing that. I'm teaching you guys to be the best in your field, which makes it easier. It's easier when you're the best because it's like you watch other people doing things and you're like, wow, that will not be successful. That takes you 10 times as long as it takes me. How can that work? Like when Catherine was talking about how long it takes to unload the dishes, the resetting the zero process at my house, which is dishes, floors, dishwasher, wipe down all surfaces, sink, refill all the water, everything for the next day, it takes less than 10 minutes. And you don't need a cleaner. I can even clean the baseboards, which is what people said that's the best part of a cleaner is they can clean the baseboards for you. That's especially if you do it every day. They're not that dirty. But 10 minutes every day. Now, if you miss like 2 months of that, then your house is going to be in disarray and it's going to take you 4 hours to scrub your baseboards because they're filthy. It's the same as your eBay store. I have one more analogy, then we'll go to Debbie. Reselling gets harder every single year, but if you get better every year, then you're not afraid of that. I'm okay with the postage going up twice a year. I'm okay with shipping supplies going up. I'm okay with my landlord increasing my rent sometimes twice a year. Whatever that situation is, I'm okay with that because I'm not standing still. Jesse's not standing still. It's not getting easier. It's getting harder. We have to get better. Have you guys ever heard, you know what? eBay was way easier today. It surprised me. So much easier. Today I got all my work in half the time. I've never heard that. It's never going to get easier. You have to get way better. Sorry for yelling.
Can I say something about the dishwasher thing and like if you said if you haven't done it, for 2 months, you have all this thing, but so, when I started this, and I know a lot of people are in the same camp. I didn't know, you or anything. And I started on my own and how to, acquire all this stuff and a process that was terrible. And I'm still playing catch up with all of that. I mean, I came from a full-time job where I was my own boss for, a decade-long company, which I founded. So I'm still trying to fix all of that stuff. But I still didn't know what to ask. And I will have it with, from a year from when I started, it will be so much better. I can't wait to show you.
So Kelly, I think that you suffered from the same poison as me, which is you used to run your own company. Yeah. Because when you work at a job, they tell you what to do. Right? So when people come from a job like a 70K a year job higher, and they come into reselling, they ask, what am I supposed to do? And then do it. But if you were figuring it out on your own, like I wouldn't say that like somebody running their own cleaning business or their own car detailing service, those people don't necessarily translate into good resellers. It's like the people who had a job at Target or like a truck driver, or it doesn't, it's like a normal job, but with a very specific set of directions. I would actually say truck driver is in the top 10 of the occupations that are good at reselling, because like truck driving is so straightforward, A to B, right? So straightforward. And when you take a break in a semi, it takes like an hour. So they're very strategic about when they take breaks, their route, they plan. There's no truck driver that just starts driving. You gotta figure out how you're gonna get there first. So I did my own company too before I started reselling, and I think it set me back 5 years because I never asked, how do you do this? I just said I want to do it my way. And now I'm like, I don't want to do it my way. I want to do it the easiest way. I don't want to do it, I don't want to take all day. For in the 41-minute video that I showed you guys, that's more than most people do all day. In 16 hours, they're doing less you're doing when you're in 1 hour once you know how to do it. Go ahead, Debbie. Thank you for your patience.
That's okay. I like when I was an employee, you're right. They said, this is what you need to get done. And they usually had an order and a time you had to have it done by. But when I started working for myself, I had no problem coming up with systems. And I even, after my husband passed away, I bought a condo, and I was dealing with depression from that too, but I had to figure out a way to keep my business going and keep my house clean. And so I found the Fly Lady system, and that's what hers is on. And
That's right.
That's when I learned, like Catherine said, that's when I learned that our perception of time is different when you time it in reality.
Yep.
And her big thing was keep your house company ready 15 minutes a day. And I kept thinking, that's impossible, but it's not. It's amazing what you can do in 15 minutes. So that's what I from then on, I still use the timer, and I'm always done like in 10 minutes or less with whatever it is I'm doing. Because I thought I'll never get all the stuff unpacked and get things organized. I just don't have time, and keep it clean too. But it worked in 15-minute chunks every day. So I got everything down to a system. It took me a while to adjust from an everything seller, because you had to make what's called Frankenstein boxes for a lot of things, because I was selling collectibles, and all the different size boxes and all that. But I had that down to where I was getting pretty fast at it for the most part. My problem is the sourcing.
Yep.
Getting that
Of course.
down.
Yep.
I've tried the system.
Yep.
But my problem is it's not here. We did the zip code call
Yep.
for me last week, and even you said, wow, there's nothing there. You live in the middle of nowhere, where I don't. I live in Daytona Beach. It's not in the middle of nowhere. So that's my problem. And with the collectibles, I bought online auctions. So
Yep.
it was easy. And it was all local auctions. So and one of the auctions was like less than a mile from me. So, going and picking it up was nothing. But with the clothing, I'm really struggling to source. Yesterday, I went in and cleaned out my closet of all my skinny clothes to sell, but they're not going to sell for much because I don't have anything to list. Even though I went sourcing the other day and came home with nothing.
Yeah. And that's normal in the beginning, because you're switching categories. You're not gonna like I don't know if it'll make you feel better, but in the beginning I looked through tens of thousands of items before I had any idea what was profitable or not profitable. And it just takes a while when you're entering a new niche to be able to walk anywhere and get you're in an area like if you're in the state of Florida, there's no reason why you can't find your items. It just takes time to develop a route. Once you're only like what I said at the beginning of the call, if you can find 3 items in an hour, that's the missing part of your business, and it's just going to take some time.
Okay.
I don't think it's going to be online for you. It could be, but like you don't have a huge listing goal. I think you just need to find a couple of honey holes.
Yeah. Yep. I research a lot. I do the zip code thing
Yep.
just about every day. I take a different, like men's pant. The other day when I went thrifting that morning after the morning call, I did men's pants, and I think I found there wasn't a whole lot listed. The big thing that I find here is shirts, but they're slow sellers. They don't sell really fast unless you find something really spectacular, and I have found that, but it's rare, like it is for anybody. So I guess that's what's discouraging me the most is I can't find good items to sell.
Yeah, that's going to be the biggest frustration for most people, and the biggest challenge with reselling in general is um, finding profitable items to sell. But I'm positive that if you just stick with it for a year, sourcing will be the least of your problems. Most resellers, after the first couple of years, they have too many items.
Yeah, that's the way I was in collectibles. But
Yeah.
I'm tired of making boxes and and living with stock in my living room and bedroom and everywhere else. Where with the clothes, I've got it down to my storage shed and my office. Okay, so I'm going to trust you and keep plugging on.
Thanks, Debbie. Matt?
Thank you.
Sorry, I couldn't find the mute button. So whenever you talk about this stuff, the people who do the best in reselling, like that whole thing, it's I resonate so much with it because it's literally why I joined the group. I think I've told this story before, but I did eBay as like a side thing when I had a full-time job and I was trying to figure it out on my own. I didn't know that like there were communities and YouTube and stuff. And I was like kind of wandering around in a dark room. And then I got laid off from my full-time job. And I was like, I think I do this well enough. Like if I extrapolate the money I make in, 10 hours a week and I did it full time, I think I could do it. And that's when I started watching videos and all kinds of stuff. And I heard you say that. And once I started listening to you, it was like, oh, now I just know what to do. Like now someone's actually just telling me what to do. So instead of me like trying to figure it out wrong a bunch of different ways, I just know the things I need to do. So I'm just going to do them. And once I did that, it made, it was like night and day, right? How much of a difference it made in everything, in like the sales, but also like the how good I was at it and the quality of my life. And, I'm still putting those systems into order. So yesterday, the point I want to make is yesterday on the sold call, we did this like bad buy show and tell. That was a lot of fun. And as I was showing items to people of like bad buys I made, everyone was like, I did that. I went through that period. I did that. Same thing. Same for me. I have 100 of those, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, what Chris needs to do is like the next video or the next podcast he needs to do is like, just call it. So you sold everything you already own on eBay, and now you're ready to take the next step. Here's what to do. And get ahead of all the bad habits that people have of like watching the other videos and being like, oh, I watch these people go to yard sales and buy that stuff and then try and flip it for, $5 to 15 or blah, 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 blah. Like get everyone like before they get all the bad habits in them, just on the right track so they can do the stuff that you talk about from the beginning. And it'll save everyone so many headaches. Like you won't have to do the sold method because you'll just be in that right method. So that's my suggestion.
Well, Matt, how many people are like stupid like me and like just they only want to do it their way and they don't listen? because like here's the like embarrassing part. When I first started, like probably 3 months into my journey, okay, didn't have any bad habits yet. Tech reached out to me and said, "This is how you do it." And I said, "No, thank you. I don't want to do that." That was like right in the beginning. I could have skipped all this painful, all these random things that I did, my 98-page manual on how to do eBay that I can now explain in 4 sentences. Um, I just, I wasn't able to take that advice. So are people like, they have to be ready and the teacher will appear? Or is there a way to fast forward people through the, don't do it your way, just do it the easiest way from the beginning? Because I said no, thank you for 5 years.
So,
I-
Chris,
Go
I
ahead,
I've
Bob.
watched a movie, and it was probably the best line that I heard in a while, which was, how come, and it was between like a, actually it was that new series called Freud, and the Freud said to his, I guess like mentor, how come I'm not allowed to make the same mistakes as you to learn? And I was like, that's how like my son learns, right? He learns from mistakes. I don't know if I would learn or value it as much if I don't make some of those mistakes. Now I can condense it, right? So in this year, I condensed it a lot. I learned quickly from my mistakes, but most people have to learn from their mistakes and go, oh, I'm never going to do that again. But that's just my thought and opinion on kind of the human condition is we tend to learn from making mistakes.
Hey, Chris, this is Larry Mead. I'm new to the group. Can you guys see me?
Hey, Larry, what's up?
Not much. I'm coming out of industry here the past couple months ago. Regarding this, I mean, yeah, a person does need to fail to learn, but a lot of times, if you don't know how you're going to fail, sometimes it really helps. Like was discussed, the bad buys talk. If I were to see a video that says these are some of the most common mistakes you will make, here, shipping, purchasing, et cetera, et cetera. That would at least start to prep people to be more receptive to some of these things. But, you know, hearing the horror stories, I think really helps.
Chris, I'm sorry. I'm 100% in agreement with you that you have to make the mistakes, and I'm the same way as you were 100%. But when I started taking in the content, all I saw was people having wins. I didn't see someone sit down with a list of stuff and say like, "Hey, don't be the chord guy. Don't be the remote control guy. Don't be the instruction manual guy. Don't be the precious moments guy. Don't be." And you know what? If you want to be that guy, then then dedicate everything to it. If you want to be the media guy, then get 10,000 or 100,000 DVDs, and here's how you set up the model. Don't get 5 and have them in your store at $3. Like, and that's what the call was yesterday, was just me holding up, showing how I went through every phase that every other person has also gone through, except for maybe the 3 people who are smart enough to like, because there will be people who like tech goes to and says, "Hey, this is how you do it." And they'll be like, yeah, you're right. And then 97% of the other people will be like, "No, I'm doing it the right way." But other people, I feel like the rest of us need someone to sit down and just say like, "Hey, all right, you sold all your good items. Now maybe you want to take the next step into eBay." I have a whole group of people, and almost everyone in the group went through the same exact experience. Here are some things to look out for and avoid.
I had that text sat me down. I still didn't listen. So
No, but we need the video of it. We need
I kind of regret not being the precious moments guy, because that would have been a fantastic niche. I could have been known forever as the precious moments
No,
guy.
no.
Harry, go ahead.
Well, a couple of things. One, it's funny, we went thrifting in Atlanta on Monday, and my wife bought a Precious Moments for like $1, and she was talking about how, oh, they paid $100 for these things back in the day. But but I done this twice with instruments. When I started, I thought quality. I just got to do quality. Got to do quality. It doesn't matter about brand. It just matters about quality.
Yeah.
And I've got one instrument left that is a great instrument, but nobody wants it because they don't know what it is. And it doesn't matter what I say, they just don't want it. And then I moved it, I added shirts, and I think, okay, Adidas, Under Armour, all these great brands, but there's too many of them. So it's I don't know if you can, or at least for me, I'm too stupid just to pick up on what other people say too many times. And I'm trying to do it with my wife now because she's going to start selling purses. So I think she's kind of listening. So we're seeing there. I mean, so we're seeing where we're going with that, but it's just you got to do it. And Matt, that call yesterday was really good, by the way.
Thank you, Harry. I'm guilty of being too dumb to understand what people have been telling me too, but I wanna share something with you guys. So Debbie, hope you're watching. Ready? This is my first video. Okay. This is my first system, which is pile on the floor. This is me converting from pile on the floor into bins. On this little thing I wrote down on one of the lids was 10,000 items, 3,333 sold, 1/3% sell-through rate. Buy for less than 10, sell for over 30, make at least $10 profit. I put that on, I heard this somewhere on YouTube and I wrote that down, but I can tell you for sure, I bought all these shirts from Goodwill, and I can tell you, I even remember now, there was only one shirt that followed that in that pile. Out of so Deborah, Debbie, I went to the Goodwill bins, and I was like, there's no way I can compete with all these people pushing me out of the way. So I asked the guy, can I buy bulk? And he said, sure, you can buy by the pallet. I recommend you buy 5 pallets, sort through, leave 4 pallets here, take 1 pallet home. I can say, like, you're new, that's how you do it. I was like, okay, I don't know which pallet to take home out of 5. So I'll just buy 1 and take the whole thing home. So I bought 1, took the whole thing home. And I remember now there was only 1 shirt out of the entire thing that sold for over $30. Only 1. And it was a Charvet shirt. I looked up every single shirt in that lot. All of them worth less than $10, except for 1 shirt. So I would have been way better off thrifting. But I didn't want to go thrifting. But imagine, like, there's like around almost 1,000 shirts in a Gaylord of all shirts. It's a lot. And to only find 1 that's valuable. But I can tell you that I learned about 80 to 90% of which shirts not to buy from that experience. But I could have done the same thing at the thrift store, and it would have cost me $10 instead of looking through this giant thing of shirts. Such a waste of time. I wish that do people need to do that? Do I need to drop off a pallet of garbage at Catherine's house, and then you look through it and then you're like, oh, it's a lot better to not do this and just look for them one by one at the store? Do you need that experience, or can you just learn from me? Because I already knew what to do 6 years ago. I just didn't do it. I even wrote it down. Still didn't do it. Man.
Question.
Go ahead.
Did you list those items?
I did. I listed most of them. Because
Oh,
I'm
man.
essentially, so the pallet only costs like $40 or $50. It's not expensive, right? So I thought, how can this not be worth it? The shirts are like 10 cents. But now I know. I don't care about how cheap the items are. A lot of people say I'll get my items close to free. And I'm like, some items you shouldn't get even if they pay you. Like, would you guys take this pallet of clothing if I paid you $50? Hopefully you say no, because you have to get rid of it. And that would cost you more than $50. And that's what he meant. He meant buy 5 pallets and just take home 1 pallet of good stuff. Because in that pile, there are probably more brands that were good. I just didn't know. Maybe I passed over them. I only remember 1 from that first experiment. There was like, I don't know, even now, I would say like probably 5% of the pile was Tommy Bahama shirts, but not the good kind. Harry, do you have a follow-up?
Yeah, I actually was going to say that to Debbie that maybe she needs to drive a little farther because I find around my area, I just don't see the same quality as when I go up to the city, up to Atlanta. I find stuff up there that I just do not find here. And
Mm.
it's a massive, massive difference. I mean, I come back with Supreme shirts and row
Yeah.
back,
Yeah.
all kinds of stuff that I see here, or maybe I see a decent polo or Southern Tide or something, but that's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, it really it and that helps too to figure out where to look. And sometimes it is a commute, like a 1 day, all day endeavor, but that makes more sense than trying to squeeze money out of local thrift stores that don't have anything. Debbie, it might be 1 day a week where you travel a lot further. Catherine?
Well, I was thinking about what you were saying earlier, where you were like, I was too stupid to listen to the advice, or, why don't people just follow what they're told to do? And the thing is, and this is why I don't like self-help books, is because most self-help books don't really help. Like, they give you great advice, but people typically don't follow
Okay.
through on them. Their lives aren't actually changed. The people who benefit the most from a self-help book are the people that wrote it and get the money for selling the book.
Yeah.
Because, in my opinion, every time you have an intention to do something,
Yeah.
have this kind of unconscious intention to do exactly the opposite. And it's based in fear. Like, maybe you didn't follow up with what tech was telling you to do because you didn't want to admit that you were doing things wrong, because you had built up a really strong business and you were making money. So how can that be the wrong thing? And like, I never share my numbers because I'm always thinking, at the minute I share my numbers, Chris and Tech are going to say, good Lord, Catherine, you've been in this for how many years and you're only there? That's all you've made, that's all you've done. You got to get on it. So we always have this kind of unconscious, sort of negative thing that's pushing us to not do what we really want to do. And then we have negative self-talk that comes along with that. Like, why don't I do what I'm supposed to do? Why don't I just do it? And so you have to start to recognize what that fear is. What am I so afraid of showing other people? What am I so afraid of what's going to happen? That I'm fighting that intention to just follow what Chris says, or to just do the things I need to do, or to do them the way I'm supposed to do them. That's my theory.
Also, I think maybe if people could ask why, that would help too. Like, why are you suggesting I go thrifting in the beginning? Or why are you suggesting I go to a garage sale first or the flea market first? It's because the reason is because you don't need to outlay a lot of money. You are outlaying a lot of time. Like Debbie, there are people who are very experienced, go and they find nothing. Right? Dana just shared a story. She went to the bins and didn't find a single item, and she knows what she's doing. And she lives in an area that has money. California has money. There's no, like, people donate Tiffany stuff here. So like it's um just part of the journey. But I think that not knowing why, knowing if somehow you're curious and you want to know why, that will help you a long way, because you'll be like, okay, why is the advice like this?
And you've offered, like, I can ask myself, like, why is my photography as slow as it is, or whatever? I can go to all of your resources and figure that out. I can watch your process and see what I'm doing differently. I can time myself and see what's taking so long. So it's not like this, how you wanted more questions from people. You wish you had more questions. We don't necessarily need the answers to how to do something better. We have to start working on ourselves to figure out what we're doing to block our intention to get better at our business.
So one thing I'll add to that, because of the want part, I totally understand, because there was a point in my life where I was a lot heavier, right? And I said to myself, hey, I want to lose weight. I need to lose weight. I need to go do this. But it wasn't until one day when I picked up my 5-year-old and I said, I want to be there when they're a lot older that the real motivation sunk in and I got my, excuse my language, my shit together, right? So that was the motivating factor. Up until that point, I knew what to do. I know calories in, calories out. It's pretty simple in the end, but I made it difficult and I didn't really want to. And I told some employees this, I'm like, you really don't want to do it or you do it. I mean, it's kind of simple. You know, either you're motivated to do it at this point in time or not. And you want to do it, sure. But you
Yeah,
really
and if you know I'm gonna feel better if I exercise and eat right, I'm gonna sleep better, I'm gonna look better, I'm gonna live longer. That should be enough motivation to do exercise and eating right. And yet millions of people don't. That's not enough for them because they have maybe this unconscious, I don't want the attention that I would get when I do lose weight. What if I can't maintain it? Blah, blah, blah. You know, they always have this other thing that's fighting that intention.
Yeah, and you know, a lot of people I know that, you know, have issues with alcohol or drugs. They want to change, but they don't until they hit their personal rock bottom. And it's so different for everyone else. So for just any type of job, anything else, to me, it really comes down to that personal one. When that clicks into a real need and you're going to get that action, there's going to be a motivating factor in that. So a lot of people might say, I want to go do this reselling. I want to do 10 a day. I want to do this. But it might take, I got a big, heavy, let's say hospital bill that came in that I have to pay. Now I'm going to do it. Now I'm motivated to really get it going. Or, you know, I should have started this a little bit early, like this process of my store, I should have started a year ago, but I ignored my wife. And now I'm a year behind where I really want to be, but I'll get there. It's going faster than I expected, but I think it just comes to being a little bit older. Because if I tried to do this in my youth, it probably wouldn't have been as easy. But I think there usually is a moment in someone's life where it clicks and it happens. And it's like, yeah, now I get it. Now I'm going to go do it. So that want hit it on the nose.
Yeah, this is like it's the results don't happen immediately. But if you have a beer and a cheeseburger, you get the results immediately. Right? But like you have a salad and go to bed early.
So you're right about that. That's why, you know, I made the thing when I was losing weight, I had to do it once a week, sometimes daily, but you don't see it right away. But if you eat a cheeseburger and fries, you might not notice it in the mirror, but you're gonna feel it.
No, but you also feel the pleasure of eating it immediately.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, I
that's
certainly
the
did.
so it's pleasure now, or I don't know what's going to happen later. So your brain is not wired that way. Like it's easier to do it, but like everything happens at the end of the compound. Like in February, it's my 10-year anniversary of being an entrepreneur. 10 years ago, I quit my job. And all of the results, 90% of the money that I've made has been the last 3 years. It took like a long time before it started to work. Such a long time. So I'm trying my best to help you guys speed up the process, but it just takes a certain amount of time to get to the point where it compounds enough to make a difference. Like for some reason, I'm only motivated to do leg day. I know Brandon's out there. The other parts of my body, I for some reason, don't care about. Never miss leg day. Every other workout, though, for some reason, I just can't get into it. But after a while, you get used to it. And that's why I think motivation is so fleeting. You got to have a schedule.
Yeah, man, at least you've got the right side of it. Most people, including myself, started to struggle. Like leg day is what you neglect. Just build on that, you know.
Leg day is also this call day. So I do leg day right before this call. And I'm just like, I just never miss it. Jocelyn is saying, how long did it take to quit? Go ahead, Brandon.
I didn't mean to hit on mute.
Oh, I was just saying, it's the habit. Jesse, go ahead.
I was just gonna say you'll never miss leg day if you hit legs every day.
That's true. I got to do leg day every day. I'll never miss. That's a good one.
Agreed. That's how I solved the problem as well. I built a leg workout, just some form of leg exercise into every single day's workout. That's how I don't miss
Okay.
it before.
All right. So Jocelyn is saying, how long did it take you to quit your job? You guys ready for this story? I think I've told you before, but I was making 150 grand. I was 26 years old. Or a little bit older, 28 years old. 28 years old. I was making 150 grand working for Lexus. I was their new car manager online. And my boss said, you should quit now and be an entrepreneur. And I'll give you up to $1 million to start your first business because I think you can do it. It's going to take you a long time, but most people can't do it. I think you can do it. You should try. I think you have what it takes. It's like, it's going to take you a long time. He actually said, I think it's going to take you 10 years, but I think you should try. If you're here, you're going to end up giving up all your nights and weekends. You should try. So I tried and it was really hard. The first 2 years, I didn't sell on eBay. I tried two businesses with my old boss. I couldn't make it work because he didn't have any time. All he had was money. So like it's hard. Like money doesn't help if you don't know what to do. I didn't even use his money. For the first day, he's like, why don't you start a sales training company because you're good at sales, so you can teach people sales. That was so hard. I didn't get any traction with that. Then I tried Facebook marketing. That did okay. That it could at least pay my bills. Now it's called having an agency. But when I was starting in 2014, it was called help old people write ads. It didn't have a formal name. Now it's called having an agency, and it's a really good business now. 10 years ago, people didn't know what it was. Nobody thought Facebook or Instagram would work. But it took me a long time to figure it out. My boss said, you should try. You should quit. You can't. Yeah, it was an interesting thought. But that was 10 years ago. And it was like going from making 150 grand to zero is really weird. Right? Because California is not cheap. I even tried making an app. Like I tried so many different things to make it work in the beginning, but I was like, living the dream to making nothing. But I mean, it paid off in the end, I guess. But I don't know if I want people to have that hell. It was hard. I chose eBay because I saw, so 2014 to 2016, I worked making Facebook ads. In 2016, 2017, that era, I played Pokemon Go on my phone, and I saw that people were selling Pokemon stuff on eBay, so I switched to that. Then I watched YouTube, and I saw Rake and Profit and Reezy Resells, and that was around the end of 2016. The first year on eBay, I made $20,000, but it was only 3 months. So I started October, November, December 2016. I only sold shoes the first 3 months. Then when I saw the videos of Rake and Profit. I sold shoes for 3 months. Then I couldn't find any shoes in my area. So this happened to me, Debbie. I could not find any shoes in my area. I did not know how to do it. So I switched categories. I went to the Goodwill bins. I started, actually, I can tell you the full timeline. The first 3 months, I sold shoes that I found at a department store called Jeremy's, which is now out of business. Then from January through February, I sold everything I found at Savers. So Debbie, I went there and I was selling 3D puzzles, board games. I probably sold a couple precious moments. I sold all these figurines. I sold everything that I could find at Savers that showed me a profit on my phone. So I went through all of Savers. And then in February was the first time I went to the Goodwill bins and I started my YouTube channel. I bought that palette. I went home and I made that video. I looked through the entire thing and I only found one shirt that was good. And it's because the Charvet tag is unassuming. I think Goodwill just missed it. It doesn't look fancy, but it's an expensive shirt. So then I started and I moved into clothing. I tried all kinds of different things in the beginning, but it took me probably 8 or 9 months before I started figuring out what clothing to sell.
Yeah, it's today's conversation, this conversation, it helped me realize that it's in my mind. It's the mindset, like Catherine said, we're our own worst enemy. And since my husband died, I have a problem with being in public. So that's part of the reason I hate going to the thrift stores, because I don't like being around other people. And my grief counselor warned me about that, but I still fell into the trap. But I quit smoking almost 30 years ago, cold turkey. And I tried many, many times. I just set my mind to it, put my cigarettes down one day and never picked them up again. So I need to just set my mind to it and do it. And do it cold turkey and quit talking myself out of it.
I think so. And I think if you guys have been watching me for that long, I've never lost my enthusiasm.
No. That's one thing why I always stick with you.
Even if it's not working, I will figure it out. And I think I just want you to have that mindset, because I never doubted that I would figure it out. And I feel the same for you.
Yeah, I've done it before. I just need to get out of my own way and do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Somehow, I don't forget what that quote is, but like when I bought 800 shirts or something and then only found one shirt that was valuable, I didn't lose my enthusiasm. I just thought, never again. Let's do something different. That did not work. We'll try something else. But isn't that crazy that 1,000 shirts, or hundreds of shirts or whatever, that basically most of them will end up in the landfill, minus just a couple. It's crazy how wasteful. But not a lot of them are like, as an example, the shirt Hathaway, really good shirt, very bad resale value. So even though it's good quality, not good quality used. It's just interesting looking at the different. Good quality will help, but got to be good quality and brand for eBay.